Hi, Misha here, and I've been enjoying the Hot Wheels Select series from Star Wars. And when there was a kind of an Amazon deal weekend, I picked up two of the new ones. The Resistance X-Wing, which would be the T70, I believe. Yeah, T70. And the First Order TIE Fighter, which is the TIE FO. And normally I don't show you in the box, but since they just came in a minute ago, thought I'd show you the packaging. Because once you open these, they're not, I mean, I guess you could reseal them, but they're not intended for it. They kind of come apart, fall open, if you will, because they're not really taped as such. So yeah, once I take them out of the packaging, it's immediately just kind of unraveled box. But that's okay, because I'm not a box collector. So at this point, you see more than I do. To me, it's just a box with a plastic. But let's open them up and, look at them, talk about them, see how the Select series is doing into 2023. Alrighty, out of the packaging and on their stands. Pretty standard. We have the TIE FO and the T70 X-Wing, the Resistance X-Wing. Very much inspired by the originals, and we will compare. But, what do I think? Well, no surprises, and that's not a bad thing. Both off the stands, they have a ball socket, pop in, and both fit quite tight. And looking at the TIE FO, this is the true definition of die-cast. It's nice. The solar panels are metal, and the centerpiece is metal. And yeah, no real issues. Good size. These aren't really made to any particular scale, just kind of fit in the box. But probably around 164, maybe 172 scale if you wanted to do that. But it's a chunky thing. The TIE FO is an evolution of the original TIE Fighter. Externally, about the only difference is this sensor/comms array antenna. These do have longer comms, better sensors, better onboard computer. They also have enhanced, more high-efficiency solar collectors and energy cells. Still just 2 laser cannon here. Pilot, no onboard life support. He carries enough air for about a day, but this does not have a hyperdrive, so that's about all he needs. Unlike the original TIE, though, at least we do have a shield generator. Not a heavily powerful one, but it can take a couple of hits. So that's already doubling what the TIE could take. It's still quite fast in the Star Wars universe at about 1200 kph in atmosphere, or about 130 MGL or whatever they megalight their space category. Overall, it's about 6.7 by 6.4 by 8.2 meters. In some ways, it's a little shorter, but also a little wider than a standard TIE, but it's very much the same. But it is truly heavy and die-cast. I like it. Donk. Now the T70 X-Wing. This is the immediate successor to the T65B. It was first created around 5 ABY, not long after Endor, around the time of the Battle of Jakku, so it was a logical progression forward. It's actually smaller than the T65 because it was used with new miniaturization tech, and it's modular. But in a lot of ways, it's not clearly a huge leap forward for the X-Wing. It still has one pilot. Of course, he does have an atmosphere. It has supplies for about a week of operation. It does have a hyperdrive, often listed as a Class 2. It does have an astromech to navigate, 4 engines, 4 laser cannon, whereas the standard X-Wing, the original, had a proton torpedo launcher on each side. It was kind of stuck with that. It could have other ordnance, but it was kind of a pain. This went to more of a magazine and modular system where you could just plug in different things underneath. It still had proton torpedoes, but it could also do other things, missiles, mag pulses, extra cargo. It's a little more flexible, and that was kind of the dealio. It also had better sensors, targeting, long-range communications, just, overall an improved design. And of course, the wings do the famous X-Wing in a new way. And I really like how they did this model here. They actually have a nice click down and up. Some X-Wings, it's kind of soft in one or the other. They, on the Wikipedia article, it says these scissor open. And of course, I couldn't hear that and not think of the Mrs. Garrison scissor me thing. So, you're welcome. Scissor me timbers. But I like how they kind of overlap and underlap. I'm not saying it's realistic or gives any real advantage, but it's interesting. It's how they kind of come together and spread apart. A little more going on to kind of dig your teeth into there. I know that in the real world, the idea of spreading your lasers apart to go into attack mode is actually the exact opposite of what you want to do. You want your guns as close together as possible, especially to the point of aim. Oh well. This is about 12.5 meters by about 11 and a quarter. And it's not all that tall, about 1.5 meters tall. So, in some ways larger, but in a couple of ways slimmer than an X-Wing, than a TIE fighter. And it's capable of about 1100 kph in an atmosphere, or about 110 mgl, whatever they do in space. So my point is, it's a little bit slower than the TIE FO, but it has much stronger shielding, 4 lasers instead of 2. It has ordnance, the ability to go into hyperspace. There's a lot more packed in. It's said that in universe, this new wing arrangement is for better atmospheric maneuvering. And of course, when they're collapsed in, it is a thinner, more blade profile. I do like it. Luckily, they said this was created right after the Civil War, right at the end, so it explains why it's not that much different from the regular X-Wing. And I was curious to see how they would make the wings work on this. So I do like that system, moving parts. But it is probably the lightest, or at least one of the lightest in the series, because a lot of this is plastic. The wings are plastic, not surprising because of what they are. The nose is kind of a rubbery material that was done mostly for safety. You know how it goes. So the only metal is this central shaft here. So it has a nice weight to it. It doesn't feel super light. It does have some weight, but it's noticeably lighter than the TIE Fighter. But even though it's more plastic, you do get nicely moving parts. So, hey. But the T70. So since these are both so similar to the originals from A New Hope, let's do a quick comparison. First, TIE versus TIE, and I think they get these pretty much in scale. The original TIE Fighter is slightly taller, but the First Order here is slightly wider, which is correct. See, it just overlaps just a little bit. If they're not exactly in scale, they're very close. But I think they are. And both of them are 100% metal. Maybe this antenna here is plastic. Yeah, this is kind of rubbery plastic, but everything else. In fact, not sure why, but the First Order is heavier. Maybe because this is more skeletal, and this has more of a beefed up area. Oh yeah, this is decidedly heavier. This may be the heaviest one in the series, come to think of it. But I think they compare very favorably. I like both a whole lot. So what about X-Wings? After all, the original T65 was the first release in the series. And looking at the canopies and the astromechs, these two seem to be very close in scale. Our T65 is actually slightly longer than the T70, which is correct. And of course just slightly bulkier, thicker, which is again correct. This is heavier though, the T65, the original, because the wings on this are metal. The nose is still that rubbery material, the guns are still kind of rubbery, but you have metal wings. These do have a latch, kind of a ratchet system, but feels a little more positive in our new one. See there? But our original Luke Skywalker version is definitely heavier. And this is already not one of the heaviest in the collection in the series. The major difference, it's the wings and the whatever you want to call these intakes or spoilers here. There are tons of small differences, but yeah, that's the major difference between the 65 and the 70. I do like that there's actually patterning inside the wings and detail going on. That's cool. It is a nice little thing. I mean, this was like $12. I bought it on sale. I always wait till I get things on sale like these. Pick them up on a weekend sale. Not quite as good of a deal, but I think it was like $20 shipped. Something like that. Notice the cannons are a little smaller, finer. Still kind of a semi-flexible material, but that's okay. You don't want them bending and breaking. But yeah, it's just a more slimmed down craft. And that is conveyed in the little toy or model here. It's thicker, bulkier, boxier in the back. Who doesn't like an X-Wing? I just couldn't resist. So what do you think? And one more shot of them together. I'm enjoying this series. I could criticize it here and there. For example, there are sometimes exposed screw holes or rivet holes, but you know, for what they cost, I'm okay. It's fun. I do hope they do more capital ships. That Star Destroyer we looked at last time really made me happy. I'd love to see a Venator. I'd love to see a Mon Cal cruiser. I think a Nebulon B frigate would look really good in this size and type. There's a whole lot they could do, and with Bad Batch Season 2 and Mandalorian Season 3 coming, I'm sure we'll get new fun ships. So, what would you like to see? As fun as the fighters are, I feel like every time we have a collection of ships in Star Wars, we always get all the fighters, but the capital ships often get neglected. I really think they should do a deluxe and make it the Superstar Destroyer, the Executor. You know, go all out, make it as much as a foot long. Because at a foot long, even 12 inches, it would still be quite thin. And feel free to make it a special, because these are retail price of $25. So make it 35 or even 40 if you put enough detail in it. Maybe give it a unique stand, or maybe give it a miniature Standard Star Destroyer just to kind of set beside it for scale, a little extra. I think I'd pay that, and a lot of people would too. And if you're going to keep doing fighters, maybe go outside the box a little bit. I'd love to see a B-wing in this, and I would really, really enjoy seeing a V-wing or an ARC 170. Clone Wars, I mean, gotta represent. Or a Vulture droid fighter. There's a lot they can do, and when it looked like the Hot Wheels standard line was going to be discontinued, which I guess at this point it really has, I was kind of worried, but at least they've replaced it with something. And since these just came in today, I thought I would share them with you. So I'd love to know your opinions and thoughts, so post them below. This is Misha. Catch you very soon next time.